everyone, welcome to episode 37 of Otome Shimai.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Vika.
And we are sisters who play Otome games.
Hi sister, what's our topic today?
Olympia Soiree, and you know how everyone's gonna know that?
How?
Because last week was Olympia Soiree too.
That's right, today is our second part of our reviews and twos for Olympia Soiree, the spoiler heavy edition.
Yes, so if you have not played Olympia Soiree and don't want to hear spoilers, please go to episode 36. That's when we did our spoiler-free review. Mm-hmm. But if you don't care about spoilers or you've already played the game, please stick around because we're going to talk about this clusterfuck.
That's right, the clusterfuck of this game. It's a lot. But first, who are you doing this week?
So I actually feel a little behind because I bought this game as soon as it came out in Japanese.
Yes.
But I didn't start playing it until it was localized. And
That's rare. Yeah, usually you buy it in Japanese, you play it in Japanese before everyone else gets to access and experience it. But this one...
Yeah, I'm talking about Love or Pretend.
Yeah.
So I started it. I'm still on the common route. Mm-hmm. It's cute. It's very tropey. It's very
what do you mean by tropey?
It's very like Korean rom-com.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, and there's no death.
No death!
Yeah, which is exactly what I needed right now. So I haven't started anyone's route yet. I'm really at the very beginning of the game, but it's cute, and I think I'm gonna really like it. I think it's gonna be a nice break from the dark stuff that we typically play.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm covered in blood. So much blood. I am playing Pipi Fiore 1926.
Oh, I love that game.
That's right. I am doing Dante's True right now. So, for those of you that have been hanging out with me on Twitch or... I don't know if I've mentioned this on Twitter, but basically I started Pipi Fiore 1926 blind. I wanted to do every single person's route completely blind without having a guide whatsoever. So I went and I started Dante through Gil. I don't know why I said Dante through Gil because you can do them in any order in that game, but whatever. But I did all of them. And I ended up in the tragic route every time.
It was really funny.
Really sad. I thought, okay, maybe not just the tragic route. I thought maybe, okay, I die in one of them. There are places that you can just, die randomly before you even get to the sad shit. Mm-hmm. But no. My decisions, Vika's decisions, took her through everyone's single route to tragedy. It was very sad.
I honestly had a really, really good time listening to you talk about it because, I would know when you were going for the tragic end. And in 1926, it is not obvious that you're going for the tragic end. And then I'd be like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Seriously, when I was doing Nicola's route, I was convinced that I was like, oh, I am headed for the good end. And then... No, I was not. Blood, I am covered in blood. I'm covered in it. There's blood everywhere.
Well, I'm excited for you to finish the true ends because I'm excited for you to play Alternativa and then the quote-unquote secret characters route.
Ooh, yeah.
And of course, we will be doing a reviews and twos about that at some point.
Yes.
But my sister needs to finish playing it first.
I'm really excited and hyped up to finish this game. That's the only Otome game that I'm playing right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not even playing Tears of Themis?
I am playing Tears of Themis. They just did an event that I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be over by the time we publish this. Back to today's topic, Olympia Soiree. Extra spoilers, extra heavy, extra dose of spoilers.
I mean, you want your Olympia Soiree with an extra dose of spoilers?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the next time I make you a drink, can you order it like that?
With an extra dose of spoilers?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I do have that yuzu flavored gin that someone got me for my birthday. Maybe we should have that after we record this episode.
Friends, we may imbibe in some yuzu gin after this.
You know what? I actually think I have the ingredients for gin and tonics. I know I got limes in my grocery box.
Heck yeah!
That would be nice.
All right, well, that's what we're looking forward to. But first... let's get into Olympia Soiree and all the craziness that this clusterfuck has in store for us.
Yes. So the first thing we're going to talk about really quickly is the common issues that you find in every single route. Yeah. And then we're going to get into what you find out in each one of the routes, we are going to be talking about the LIs and kind of what happens with them. But the thing about Olympia Soiree is that it is so lore heavy. The way that this game works is in each route, you find out a little bit more about the world and what is going on.
Yeah.
And then by the end of all of the routes, you finally put everything together. And I know that that happens in a lot of games.
But at least for this one, I feel like it's really built off previous routes.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that you would have the context to do someone like Himuka's route if you haven't done Tokisada's route, for example.
I felt like in some cases, the lore and the backstory almost took over the romance.
We will get to that when we talk about the later routes. But let's talk about the common issues first. So the societal stuff is number one. It's everywhere. The fucking racist color class, the sexism that's happening. The island is just completely racist and sexist, so expect that. That is what's happening here.
Every single route, racism and sexism. Kanan, the leader of the Orange.
Leader of the Orange. He's always a problem.
In every single route. And he hates everything because his dick doesn't work.
That is not why he hates everything.
Oh, really? Do you have another explanation?
I mean, okay, so he's a pretty terrible person, and he also dislikes the way society is, just like everybody else does, but his solution is to burn it all to the ground.
And he gets all of that anger because he cannot let it out through sexy times because his dick does not work.
That's right. He's sterile. It's quite sad.
Yeah, he got haku, and it affected his down there region, and now he doesn't have a penis that works.
Yeah. We're going to try and not talk about Kannan that much, only in routes where it's particularly relevant to that main LI, but in every single route he's always a problem. He's the guy who writes the newspaper and does all the sneaky shady shit.
He spreads really horrible rumors.
He's just not a nice boy.
Every route.
But he looks cute.
I don't like his haircut. It's too blunt.
It's too blunt. His twin's cute.
Yes, I agree. But we're talking about the problems right now, and Kaina is not a problem.
Kaina's not a problem. He's just a sweet, sweet boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Fell in love and now doesn't get to live on the surface. You know what? This game is sad, guys. It's a sad game.
Another problem is Nagusa, who is friends with Kanan.
That's right.
Nagusa is usually a problem, partially because of Kanan's influence, but also he's just kind of a asshole who's full of himself.
He's the next leader of the Jade, and he's like all into upholding the very racist, sexist cultural standards on the island.
And he's very full of himself,
He's very full of himself.
So he's very bigoted and very full of himself, but he's like one of those people where you can't tell at first. His public image is very, like, good boy.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people are entranced by him because they're like, wow, he's so beautiful and he's so elegant. And I think one thing in a lot of the routes is the public is like, oh, maybe Olympia will be with, like, him because he is a possible good, mate for her, basically, in the public's eyes. But, once you really get to know him, you just find out he's a jerk.
Yeah, exactly.
So, he's not always a problem, but in many routes he is problematic.
Yeah, Kanan is more of a problem, and when Nagusa is a problem, it's usually exasperated by Kanan.
It's because Kanan is an extra problem.
Yeah, because his dick doesn't work.
Who's the next problem we want to talk about?
Sakyo of the Violet. He's a doctor at the hospital. He's usually a problem mostly because he's working on a cure for Haku and he wants to experiment on Byakuya, so that's not great.
No. I mean, he has a good reason. He himself has Haku, and people that he loves has Haku.
Yeah, but he wants to, like, fucking lock Byakuya up and, like, take her blood for experiments and make her have babies with all sorts of people so he can experiment on them.
Yeah. So in one of Yosuga's endings, that ends up happening where he makes an agreement with Byakuya, and she basically has to be the breeder for...
No, thank you.
His experiments. Anyways, sorry. These are the bad things, okay? This is the problematic things we're talking about first.
You know what one of my favorite scenes in the game is?
What?
When Tokisada stabs Nagusa.
Are we going back to Nagusa?
It's a fun scene because he stabs Nagusa, and Nagusa it basically turns into like a whiny little rich boy, and he wasn't even stabbed that badly.
I like that. You know what? Tokiseta stabs Nakusa, and he didn't even stab him that badly. Like, and he cried. Big freaking baby. Potential leader of the Jade cries like a baby when he gets stabbed. Sorry, I couldn't help it. That is a good scene. Actually, a lot of this game is people stabbing one another.
Yeah, there is a lot of stabbing.
So
there's not as much stabbing as Pio Fiore, though.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Well, Pio Fiore has guns, too, so that just makes things...
In Orlok's route, there's a lot of stabbing.
True, yes, because he doesn't use guns. One thing about this game is, like, it's very happy-go-lucky in how it seems, how it looks, and it's very, like, sweet and romantic in how it seems and how it looks, but it's so dark.
It is.
Like, you get stabbed, you end up stabbing other people stab other people. It's just, like... This is not a happy-go-lucky game, so...
It's a lot of stabbing.
It's a lot of darkness.
There is a gun at one point.
Who has a gun?
Kanan.
It
washed up
on the beach.
And
So,
he points it at Byakuya.
yeah. And she's like, what the heck?
So that's fun.
Yeah, that was pretty messed up.
All right, so those are, like, the common problems that you will find in almost every route.
Yeah, and they're mostly people.
They're mostly people.
We didn't mention Heidi. Heidi is also kind of a problem.
Yeah, but he's only a huge problem in one route. He's like a asshole in the other routes, but he's more of an understandable asshole than everyone else.
That's true. He's an orphan, and he's got problems.
Yeah, he gets treated like shit. He needs therapy.
Oh, they all need therapy. Everyone in this game needs therapy.
I don't think Jigen needs therapy.
Actually, Jigen's probably the therapist.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, let's start talking about the love interests and their roots.
Yeah.
So I think we should go in route order because I feel like that's how we're gonna like be able to build up the information to get to the end.
I like building things. I especially like building things with you.
Thank you, sister.
Like, we've built this podcast together.
I was thinking like actual building, like taking blocks and putting them on one another, but conceptual building was also something I enjoy doing with you too.
Yeah, it's great, especially when we're wearing matching sweatshirts.
Especially when we're wearing matching sweatshirts and we both look like a unicorn.
Yeah, we have, for those of you who like D&D and watch Critical Role, we have matching Jester Lavore flying unicorn sweatshirts.
That's right. We took a selfie of ourselves and posted it in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, feel free to join us, come hang out, and chat as we started recording this episode like 3 hours ago. Okay, we've got sidetracked. Let's continue. We're not doing a sidetrack by side characters. We're doing a reviews and twos, spoiler heavy, Olympia Soiree. First, let's talk about Riku.
Okay, so what's Riku's problem?
So, Riku's problem is that he has a stick up his ass.
That's what I always say, and then you're like, no, he's so cute. But because I wrote in the notes that he has a stick up his ass, you decided to read it.
Yeah, I actually really like Riku, but like... There's a lot going on.
He has a stick up his ass.
He does have a stick up his ass.
And what does it stem from?
Self-hatred.
And why?
So, it turns out that, at the beginning of his route, you find out that he's the next in line to become the leader of the Blue. Mm-hmm. He's very pure. His whole thing is
he's a virgin.
Yeah, that kind of pure, too. He's definitely a virgin. But, like, he is the purest of Blues, right? So they want to maintain the purity of the Blue line. His parents were the supposed leaders of the Blue at the time, but actually, it turns out, his parents were Hazushi, and he was actually born in Yomi.
Yeah, his parents were not blue.
His parents were not blue. He actually just happened to have really good Blues traits and characteristics that they found him in Yomi, and they brought him to the leaders at that time. And he was raised as a Blue child to be next in line.
Yep, so all of his, racist rants and shit,
yeah,
self-hatred.
It's really sad, too, because he really just wants to fit in with his color class. Mm-hmm. And this is the interesting thing about Riku, is, like, he's so sweet and so righteous, but, like, there is a reason for him to question things. And you don't really get to experience that with him until, like, the very end of the route, where he kind of tells you all of these things.
He's very closed off.
Like, he's very, very closed off in the beginning. Yeah, but he's so cute. I usually don't like tsunderes, but he's such a tsuntsun and he's adorable.
I don't like men with sticks up their asses. You know me.
I don't know. This whole route is just like really intensive on the basics of the society.
Yeah, this is the route that gives you the foundation of what this island is at its core.
You learn like the rules, you learn about the color class system, you learn about how fucked up everything is. Riku's whole thing is that he's not able to be with a woman until he's 30, so he's a virgin until 30. And he's basically being bred to breed with another person who has very strong blue traits. And the leader of the blue at the time does not see Byakuya as a possible love interest for him because then they would make white babies.
Yeah, Shura does not approve.
She does not approve. She does not want him to have white babies because he's supposed to maintain the purity of the blue.
Yeah, needs to have the blue babies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically Riku's route. You don't learn really about the lore so much as you do the society.
Yeah.
And there isn't any, like, I feel like the issues in Riku's route are a lot less, earth-shaking than some of the issues in the other routes.
You don't learn too much about the disease. You don't learn too much about the lore, but you really learn about how society works in the color class system.
Yeah.
The one thing that I had forgot earlier that I had to look up was that I remember there being a scene in his route where he has to like plead his innocence in court. Basically, he gets summoned to Ishanaten, and the reason was because so Riku can use batsu.
Yes.
He has his own dance, and he does ritualistic batsu to like send off people of like the upper class, right? And at some point in the story, Byakuya gets assaulted, and Riku goes ham.
Yeah.
He
assaults them back.
He assaults them back. So he's in trouble for that, for using his powers on people who he should not be using them on.
Yeah.
And when he goes to court, quote
basically
unquote,
self-flagellation. He shows up and he's like, punish me.
Yeah, he's like, I need to be punished. And everyone else is like, no, especially Byakuya. She's like, absolutely not.
Like, he saved my life.
But no.
And everyone is like, I mean, yeah.
So, I don't know. His ending was really interesting. You don't get too much about the inner workings of the story, but it is a good opening to understanding what the society and the quote-unquote government is like.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Riku. Want to talk about Tokisara?
Tokisara is a dead Catholic samurai.
Yes. He is actually based off of a dead Catholic samurai. That is true.
He was a real person. Yeah. Google him.
He's a real dude.
Yeah. He was, beheaded for being Catholic and somehow floated in the ocean until he got to the island. Ooh.
What?
When I was Googling him, I found out something really funny.
What?
It was rumored that he was the son of Toyotomi Hideyoshi's son. Apparently it's like just a rumor, and most people don't think it's true. But I have dated Toyotomi Hideyoshi before, so this might be my grandson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I broke my sister. This is what happens when I don't run jokes by her before we start recording.
No. She usually doesn't run jokes by me. It's tired, and we've been doing this for many hours. But yeah, I like that you said that Tokisara might be my grandson. Okay, anyways, back to the game.
I'm very funny.
So funny.
I'm glad you think I'm funny.
You're so funny. Listeners, I hope you guys also think she's funny. If you didn't, I don't know why you're listening to this, because I don't, Okay, so Tokisada is one of my favorite characters. You know what? I'm probably going to say that every single time.
Yes,
because
but
in the last episode, I was like, I love them all.
You do love them all. It's fine. Share the love. Tell us about Tokisada and why you love him.
So, Tokisada is an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up on the island because he washed up on shore, and he is just a confused, lonely boy with self-esteem problems.
He's the baby of the group.
He's the baby.
He's 17.
Yeah, he's the youngest. So, he goes around calling Byakuya One-san, and I love it. That's one of my favorite things. I know Vicky hates it, but I absolutely love it. It's so cute. So, he spends all of his time at the bathhouse because he's lonely. He doesn't have any friends. Mm-hmm. And Yosuga kind of makes that a safe place for him.
Yeah.
That's really, really nice. He actually has his own little white mouse, just like Byakuya.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it turns out that his mouse's name is Paris, is the brother of Byakuya's mouse, whose original name was Romeo, by the way, but now he's been Daifuku because Byakuya renamed him to Daifuku when he got fat.
Yeah. Round, fat, white mouse named Daifuku.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And they have a sister mouse. Okay, now we're just talking about the mice.
That's okay. We can talk about the mice.
And there's a sister mouse named Juliet, which I really love. Romeo, Juliet, Paris. Oh,
that's such a depressing story, though. It lasted like 5 days, and I think 7 people died.
Yeah, sad. Everything about this game is sad. Why would I not expect the illusions to be sad?
Ooh, there's actually a new musical. A musical came out recently. It's called Anne Juliet, and it's the story of what would happen if Juliet had not killed herself at the end of the story, and it shows all of the characters' journeys throughout their lives, and it uses like pop songs. Mm-hmm. I have not seen it.
This is interesting.
Yeah, but you guys should look it up. It looks really interesting. I have not seen it, but I have seen like little clips of it.
Yeah, I've seen or heard. Well, actually, in the amount of webcomics and fan fiction that I have consumed, there are so many different retellings of the Romeo and Juliet story. There's a lot of really interesting, good stuff out there.
Well, I mean, I will never forget the one with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's what we had to watch in high school.
I don't even want to talk about that. Can we go back to talking about Tokisada?
That may have dated us a little bit.
So back to the White Mouse Clan. Why was I talking about the White Mouse Clan? It's the family of white mice that end up bringing the flowers to the men on the island and bringing them to the White Island so that they can make babies with the white ladies.
So we're not talking about Tokisada anymore at this point. Let's just talk about what the mice's job is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got really distracted by talking about Paris and Juliet and Daifuku.
It's fine. This is the spoiler heavy episode, so we can actually just like word vomit and it's fine.
And we kind of are. I think that was one thing that I really liked learning about in this game.
Word vomit?
No. Was that the mice had a function more than just being like little side pets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they had their own little language. They could talk to each other. No one but Camellia, the maid of Chikinjo, could understand them because she was a doll and not human. But still, like, they had their own little society and they had their own little function, you know? They were supposed to bring very, like, worthy men from the island to where the women of the white worship the sun.
Yeah.
And, like, make sure that they procreated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a weird job, but it's like... They had a function.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
If you got a white flower from a little mouse, that was a good thing. It means that you're not a dick.
Yep, and you can go to the island of the white ladies and marry one of them. And actually, I think it was part of the story that, like, those people who received the Iroha flowers were actually the soulmates of those women.
Yeah, I think so.
It wasn't like they were just choosing a random person to go procreate.
Let's bring all of the hot men and let the ladies pick which one they want.
No. There's a big thing about soulmates in this game, and so that was part of the story. Yeah. But anyways, so
back to Tokisada.
I went on a long tangent when I started talking about Paris.
So how about this? Let me ask you something. So Tokisada is an outsider. How? But he's like the successor of the Green. How did that happen?
Oh, right. Sorry. Totally got sidetracked by the mice. So basically, the leader of the Green, Lord Tsuneho, didn't have a successor. Mm-hmm. And so when Tokisada kind of like washed up on shore, everyone got really excited because it was another outsider. All of the outsiders have been basically doing miracles on this island, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lord Jigen figured out how to make sure that the cinnabar was not poisonous.
Yes.
So that the people of the Red could live on that land and profit off of it. Mm-hmm. And then Lord Doma was the leader of the Yellow, and he was able to create the solar link.
Yeah.
So when Tokisada came, they were like, oh my gosh, another outsider who can like do miracles. Mm-hmm. So they kind of like, what would you call it, naturalized him?
Yeah. And also
the Green?
Yeah, because he had green eyes.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, sure, he can be in the Green.
It made sense. Oh, it was so weird how they make people into a color, though.
Yeah, no, that's squicky.
Yeah, that made me feel so funky. So what they end up doing is, like, if you're an outsider, mm-hmm. you have no color, but in order to function in the society, you need to have a color class. Mm-hmm. So what they end up doing is they get a pure shoal, a pure crystal of basically a dead person's soul,
yeah.
of the same color, and they basically implant it in your body.
Cool.
So
wonderful.
It's pretty squick.
Let's slip a dead person's soul under your skin.
And now you're green.
And now you're green.
Yeah, or any color realistically.
Wunderbar.
Yeah. But I don't know, I felt bad for Tokisada a lot of his route because he just wanted friends and he just wanted to fit in and he wanted a purpose.
He wants that in Hibuka's route too.
True, he does. He does. Like, he still has these problems in everybody else's route, but especially in his own route, like, mm-hmm. he's battling with the fact that, like, he still has his memories from when he was alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So he knows that he was beheaded.
He knows that he was beheaded. He knows that he had, like, he still has his connections to religion and his version mm-hmm. of God. But he struggles with finding purpose and being able to plant roots on the island because he's like, well, all these other outsiders did such a great job doing this. What can I possibly do?
Yeah. And
it ends up making him feel pretty shitty, actually.
Yeah.
And she has to, like, build him up, you know,
just
throughout
a
the route.
He's
just a young kid, you know?
He's a baby.
But it's okay because
too much pressure on him.
At the end of his route, like, they end up getting married or planning to get married. He becomes the leader, and
there's
like,
a peach tree.
Everyone's excited for it, and there's a peach tree. They plant a peach tree together.
They plant a peach tree together.
Cute. So cute. Also, I will say another thing about Tokisada before we continue. He may be baby, but damn it if he ain't sexy. He has game, y'all.
I'm shaking my head at my sister right now. Because to me, all I see is a child who calls me One-san.
But he was so muscular, and, like, when they get into, like, the romantic sexy time, like, he is on it, you know? Okay, anyways, my sister is making a face. Let's move on. I'm not gonna torture her too much.
So the thing about, like, this game is mm-hmm. that I liked it. I liked the plot. Mm-hmm. I only liked a couple of the LIs. A lot of the LIs I was not super into, but because they were just, like, written so well, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
You love everyone.
I do. Yeah, I do love every single one of them.
You love everyone.
Yeah. So I want to mention this, is that almost all of the best ends have some really, like, sexy after scenes.
Yeah, this is a game that has a lot of adult themes, and that includes sex.
Yeah, they don't shy away from the romance and the sex, and I think that, like, that really shocked me the first time I played this game, which was a real surprise because I was not expecting it. When I got to the first good end, I was like, oh my goodness, for real, we're going there, okay. Yeah. And, like, it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I understand from, like, a plot perspective why there was that much sexy time, because one of the things, like, going back to the whole soulmates thing that mm-hmm. you were talking about, is when a woman of the white is connected with her soulmate, she will take on their color.
Yeah.
And Byakuya's mom told her this when she was little, and what Byakuya didn't realize is that was a very literal statement.
It was.
So every time she, you know, starts to get romancy with someone, her hair and eyes begin to change color.
Yeah.
So
if for those of you who have played this game or who will play this game, look forward to CGs of Byakuya having different colored hair.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
It freaks a lot of them out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. One of the LIs, I can't remember who it was. Was it Kuroba? Or was it Yosuga? When her hair changed, he thought like, oh my god, like I've broken you forever.
I think it was multiple. I wouldn't be surprised if it were both Yosuga and Kuroba. Speaking of Yosuga.
Okay, speaking of Yosuga, let's talk about Hurricane Yosuga.
Hurricane Yosuga. He is not as advertised.
No, this man was a roller coaster.
Yeah, you see him in other people's routes, and that gives you no indication of what he's going to be like in his route. It's a clusterfuck of up and down.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
You just... You find out that he's, like, been obsessed with Byakuya since Tsukiyomi told him stories about her when they were kids. Yeah. Like, they didn't meet until recently, but he's been fucking obsessed with her because Tsukiyomi was like, oh, there's this girl on the island.
Yeah. Remember he had the shell that she collected.
Yeah.
Like, and he held on to that.
He just, like, fantasized about her before ever even meeting her.
In hindsight, very strange, actually.
It is very strange. And... he's been through so much trauma and hasn't had therapy. His whole thing is that he's, like, he feels very possessive of her, but he's not sure if it's, like, does he want to kill her? Does he want to, quote-unquote, dirty her? Or maybe he loves her?
And they are soulmates?
Yeah, and he, like... most of his route just like cycles in between all of those.
It really is a roller coaster, and it is for Byakuya too, because she's like
she also doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, she's very convinced that she's fallen for this person, but he keeps playing this like, you know, every card is a different card. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't like it. Like. At some points, he felt like he was being really emotionally manipulative, and then at other points, it was like, oh, this guy's just really fucked up and, like, doesn't understand how to have a relationship with someone.
Yeah. I mean, I read it as him being so caught up in, like, the trauma and tragedy of his past that, like, he couldn't even process the existing relationship that he had with her until dealing with that. Yeah. And I'll let you talk about that, actually. Let's talk about what his problems were.
So, Yosuga's the last of the purple.
Right.
And he lives in Yomi.
He does.
And he shouldn't live in Yomi because he's the last of the purple. And the purple's one of the...
He's a true color.
Yeah, he's a true color. So, but the reason why is because... everyone else in the purple either died from Haku or burned to death in a giant fire.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he's basically cursed.
Yeah, that's what they said. They were like, oh, everyone else is dead, you must be cursed. Okay, little child, we're gonna put you underground.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah, that's the way they dealt with it. But the whole thing, oh god, the entire downfall of the purple was because of the blue.
Yeah. So Yosuga has a sister, or he had a sister.
Yes.
His father was the leader of the purple. He and his sister were naturally purple, but apparently his sister had a good relationship with Shura, the current leader of the blue.
Yeah, she was Shura's attendant.
Yeah, she became her attendant and ended up living with them for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But some serious shit happened.
Yeah. Shura's husband at the time...
a very shitty man.
Yeah, the leader of the blue, infected Yosuga's sister with Haku.
Yes.
As in, he assaulted her.
Sexually.
Yes. And he had Haku because Shura and Sakyo gave it to him to kill him because he was an asshole.
Correct.
And then, to cover... all of that up, the purple was set on fire and everyone died.
Yeah, so thanks, Blue, for eradicating the entire class of purple people.
So one-eyed, flying purple people eater, one-eyed, one-horned,
flying purple people eater, one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater.
Sure looks strange to me. Woo-wee. Anyways.
Sorry, guys.
This is not what happens in the game. And the game... Yosuga is very, very traumatized because his whole family's dead.
Yeah, so most of his route is actually you trying to figure out the mystery of, like, was it Shura who killed his sister?
Yeah.
Like, why did his sister have to die?
It's Shura.
Yeah. And he knows that there was something bad going on because he overheard Sakyo talking about it. And he just, like, he's on the path to vengeance. And so I feel like at least a lot of the time spent in this route wasn't much romance with Byakuya as much as it was like her being caught up in his trauma.
Yes. I agree. The romantic scenes were not about her or him. It was about him.
Yeah.
And his you're right.
It was really interesting because I felt like a lot of the scenes between the two of them were actually very romantic. Like, the content-wise. Like, the conversations of them, like, connecting underneath the sakura tree in Yomi, and, like, their outings together. I felt like a lot of the conversations that they had were very connecting. I don't know. I still liked his route, but I do agree that it was very more, like, roller coaster-y and heavier than many of the others.
I did not feel like it was a healthy relationship.
Well, their ending was cute. He ended up making her a mailbox on the surface, too.
Okay.
Anyway, I liked his route.
I mean, his route was definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on, and
I still loved him as a character and as a love interest. But I do agree.
I mean, he's hot.
A lot of the story was really intense.
He's real hot.
You know who else is hot?
Kuroba.
Oh my god, he's so hot.
Oh, I love him.
You get to see him without his shirt off so many times, and it's like they knew what they were doing when they were giving us these.
And he's voiced by Sugita Tomokazu. And for those of you who don't know, that is my favorite voice actor.
That's right.
Sugita Tomokazu, all day, every day. I'm so happy when he's in anything. I will watch things and buy things because of Sugita Tomokazu.
That's right. Well, let's talk about Kuroba, who is not Sugita Tomokazu, but is voiced by him.
Yeah.
His whole route basically focuses on racism and the disease, Haku.
They did him dirty in his route. Kuroba's a great character. He's a great character. But you didn't get a lot of him in his route. Mm-hmm. It was about the problems. Like, you did go on dates and stuff, and I cherished those times.
Yeah.
But it really was them having to, like, fight against society because Kuroba living in Yomi and being of the black meant that everyone looked down on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
What?
But we learn about his backstory.
Uh-huh.
So, he's of the black now.
Yes. But was he always?
No. No. He was born of the yellow.
Yeah, he was actually supposed to be the one. He was the leader of the Yellow Sun.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the next leader of the Yellow, but he got Haku.
Yeah, and so the thing with Haku, you get to learn a lot about this in Kuroba's route, is that he's a doctor. Mm-hmm. He's researching how to cure it. But basically, there is a medicine that exists to stop Haku. It works 90% of the time. But there are side effects. And the side effect is that all of your color traits are drained, and you basically, like, get taken over. Your hair becomes black, your eyes become black, and you are no longer of your color.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who are of the primary color class, if they have Haku, they will not take this medicine because it's worse for them to be of the black than it is to have Haku.
Yeah, they would rather die.
Which is really sad, actually. Like, it's very, very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when Kuroba got Haku and he took the medicine, his color turned black, and he, as a child, was sent to Yomi.
Yeah, I do not understand. I hated this part about finding this part about his route because it's so messed up. Like, to hear about what happens to children in this game.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just because they are born. And this is all alluding to, like, real life too, and it's so fucked up. And it gets me so angry. So I'm going to try and not talk about it that much, but I do want to express that, like, this hit so close to home for me, and, like, I don't know, I had a really hard time playing his route because it was very, very emotional, experiencing, I don't know, like his story and the story of the people in Yomi, from a person of color's perspective, right?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, I really want to continue to hear your thoughts of this. We have seen online some people call us a pair of white sisters.
That's right.
And that's not correct.
So we are sisters in the found sister way.
Yeah, we're not biologically related. Sisters. So I, Vicky, am white.
Yeah.
But
I, Vika, am Hispanic.
So when we see that, on the one hand, it's funny.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
it's incorrect.
No. So
it's incorrect. So at least know that like for me, this game did affect me in a different way than it may have affected my sister.
Yeah.
Like the experience is completely different just because of who we are and our backgrounds.
And we were definitely talking about that because you were, especially in Kuroba's route, I know that you were relating a lot to Kuroba. I was relating a lot to Byakuya because I am in a relationship with a person who is not Caucasian.
Right.
And so I really have enjoyed talking to you about that because we see it in two completely different ways.
Yeah, it's a completely different perspective. But yeah, Kuroba's route, all the routes were great. All of them made me cry. All of them made me feel some type of way. But Kuroba's route really hit me like harder than I thought it would. I felt really connected to him as a character. And for multiple reasons why, but like his route was the one that really made me think and really made it a little bit like, oof. That's real, you know, that kind of feeling. But I did love his route. Also, he's a smart ass fucking doctor.
He is.
And he's super hot.
Yes.
I love the fact that like, God, I love this in the beginning of his route because you find out he's a doctor and he's like working with kids and he's giving them shots and they're like, no, I don't want it. But like, it's for a good cause. They're supposed to be there. And then she finds out he's the only one who treats the kids in Yomi.
Yeah.
Because he grew up there and none of the other doctors up on the top who actually got to become doctors or like wanted to go treat the people in Yomi. Like that's so,
he is wonderful, but holy shit, did he get the short end of the stick.
He totally got the short end of the stick.
We are both those people who are still holding out for an Olympia Soiree fan disc.
I hope they do something, yeah.
Kuroba deserves better than what he got in terms of story in this game.
Yeah. I don't know. I did like that a lot of their story. So Sakyo's a problem in this route.
Sakyo is a huge problem.
Because he wants to test on Byakuya, you know,
the
whole white thing, creating more whites in order to protect the sun or whatever.
Yeah, and he was Kuroba's mentor, so Kuroba's in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Nagusa is also a huge issue in this route because Nagusa is trying to marry Byakuya, and I mean the biggest issue is the racism.
Yeah, and like, everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're with this guy from the Black? How dare you?"
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I could talk about this for days, honestly. But let me try to focus on the good things. What were some of the good things in this route?
The dates that they went on.
They went on so many cute dates, you guys.
Yeah, they went on actual dates.
He legitimately took her on dates.
Yeah, like they went to the beach and that was really cute, even though the first time they went there, she saw him shirtless and ran away.
That's right. But she also put her bathing suit on and got in the water.
That's true. He took her to like this really cute restaurant.
The one by the cave.
Yeah.
Okay, so in every route, there's like a little like food related thing, which I find adorable.
Yeah.
And I like that Kuroba's the food related thing in Kuroba's route was a 5-star meal. Like, you know what I mean?
That was the only 5-star meal. In Riku's route, it was a fucking hamburger.
It was a hamburger. So, yeah, and in Tokisada's route, it was shaved ice. So, like, it was really cute. Anyways, his good ending was really good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very good end.
Yeah. And then in one of his bad ends, he stabs her. Yeah,
so that's back to the beginning of this episode when we talked about people stabbing each other. Yeah, one of the allies stabs you, and that's
he turns
him.
into yandere and is like, if I can't have you, no one can have you.
That's
and,
right. I'm dying, but I need to stab you so that I don't know why. He was the one who was in trouble.
I don't. Well, because Nagusa was still trying to get with her.
Yeah.
But I mean, there has to be like a weird yandere, the ally kills you ending in almost every one of these games. So it's kind of whatever to us at this point.
Yeah, it could have been a toss up. It could have been any of them, really.
Right?
Okay. We can wax poetic forever about Kuroba, but let's talk about Himuka.
Creepy baby?
Yes, creepy baby.
You admitted it.
He is kind of a creepy baby. He's pretty
totally
and he's
a creepy
cute,
baby.
and he's little and
he doesn't know how to interact with people.
Okay.
And he hides and he carries a skull.
Yeah. So if we didn't say this already, spoilers, Himuka is Hiruko. He is a god.
He is the god.
He is the god. So this whole route is just super lore heavy. The first 3 routes are like society, dun dun dun, medicine, dun dun dun, and
the first 4 routes.
Oh, sorry. You're right. The first 4 routes.
I am right.
You are right. The first 4 routes about society, but this is when we get into the lore. This is when we get into the mythology of it all.
And
so
it's great.
It's crazy. Like, we're not even going to be able to cover all of it.
No, we are not covering all
intense.
of it. Because then this would be like a 4-hour-long episode, and I am not going to do that.
Yeah. But basically, at the beginning of Himuka's route, no one really knows anything about him because he kind of just doesn't exist. Like, he
just appears one day.
Yeah, he just appears. He has the power of Batsu, so he's the Undertaker there. Mm-hmm. But no one knows who he is. He's not in the registry. And no one's really willing to get close because he's the Undertaker, so there's this whole air of mystery about him.
Except for Tokisada,
who wants friends.
It's really funny because at one point, kind of in the middle of the route, Tokisada approaches Byakuya and is like, can I talk to you about Himuka? Mm-hmm. And Byakuya starts, like, getting ready to, like, defend Himuka, and Tokisada's like, no,
do you think he'll be my friend?
We're around the same age, and I want to talk to him, and it was really cute.
It was super cute.
And Himuka was like, why does someone want friends? What are those?
Me? Huh? Oh my god. Himuka.
Anyways, he is Hiruko.
Yes, he is Hiruko. So basically, he ended up creating this whole fucked up world to begin with because he was lonely. Like, literally. So, let's talk a little bit about the lore.
Family tree.
Set the context straight. Okay, we'll talk about the family tree.
Family tree.
So, he has parents, right? Mm-hmm. There's a set of 4 siblings, one of which is Hiruko. Mm-hmm. The parents are Izanami, who is the mom, mm-hmm. Izanagi, who is the dad.
And they're siblings.
And they're also siblings, so, you have some strangeness there, but this is not weird in the land of mythology, okay?
Yeah, and these are gods from actual Japanese myths. So
yeah, you can look this up and, like, learn about it. It's very interesting. When I first started playing this game, I went down the rabbit hole, and I learned a lot. Do I remember any of it? Not that much, to be honest, but enough to talk about it here in this episode.
Yeah, I avoided Googling too much because I felt like it would spoil me, and it would have, especially the stuff about Tsukuyomi. Yeah. Who is one of Hiruko's siblings.
That's right. So Tsukuyomi
is also a god.
Is the oldest of Izanami and Izanagi's progeny. Babies. And Hiruko was ugly, so they put him in a basket of reeds and sent him away. So that's Hiruko. Then they had Tsukuyomi.
Oh my god.
I'm not lying. This is
true.
No,
I know, but that's just a horrible thing to do to a baby. Like, this baby is ugly. So we're gonna put him in like a little boat of reeds, and we're gonna throw him in the ocean.
Yeah, like that's what they did. For real. I'm not kidding.
I know you're not. Like, don't they know that all babies are ugly when they're first born? No, like, that is a thing. They come out with alien heads, because most of the time they have to get, like, pushed through the vagina, and that squishes things.
Okay, if you don't know how childbirth works, we're not going to cover it today.
If you don't know how childbirth works, why are you listening to this podcast episode? This is a hard R podcast episode. Please know how childbirth works.
Okay. Anyways, so they send him off. Shit happens. They have 3 other kids. One is Tsukuyomi,
who is the god of the moon.
Okay. And then there's his sister Amaterasu,
goddess of the sun.
The goddess of the sun. And then there is a third brother, Susanoo,
god of storms.
God of storms. So that's 4 siblings.
Yeah.
The 3 of them got to stay and like hang out and be cool, but
they were not cool.
They were not cool. They were in fact super not cool.
Susanoo fell in love with Amaterasu, and she was like, "What? No!" And then he murdered her.
That's right. Well, actually, she was like, "Yes," but also no.
And then he murdered her.
Right. So...
And then Tsukuyomi got upset and decided to make dolls in a basement for 100 years.
We didn't even mention what happened to Izanami.
No, we
didn't. She grew old and
didn't.
got ugly, and then Izanagi threw her in Naraku, and she became, like, the Lord of Darkness.
Yeah.
It was very sad.
And that's why Tsukuyomi hangs out with his mom.
He basically hangs out with
and
his
makes
mom
dolls.
in Naraku.
It's a very fucked up family.
Okay.
Anyways.
So this gives you context about Himuka.
Himuka is Hiroko.
Anyways, so the whole thing, this whole thing actually culminates in a very weird story about...
It's Kanan.
Yeah, this is the Kanan-centric terribleness. Kanan convinces Heidi...
Yeah, who's definitely Heidi.
We mentioned Heidi earlier.
Yeah.
Heidi also, incidentally, has the power of Batsu.
Yeah, he's a little orphan boy.
He's a little orphan boy. But Kanan ends up using Heidi to kidnap and murder people, i.e., like, stealing their soul crystals, because Kanan wants the world to go up in flames.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to burn it all down.
He literally just wants to create discord.
Exactly. So we're not going to go into that too much, but after Byakuya, like, gets coerced by them, they're like, we'll stop killing people if we can kill you, or if, like, we can have your white crystal for some reason or another. She's like, yeah, do it. I'm down. Like, don't kill other people. That's not cool. You can have my white crystal, whatever.
Himuka's not down with that.
Himuka's not down with it. He comes up, he tries to save her. They're all in Naraku, and somehow, like, you find out that Heidi is connected with Izanami.
Yeah, because he fell into her spring.
And that's why he has the power of Batsu. And then Camellia ends up showing up, and Camellia is just a doll, but she gets in the water, and then Izanami, like, possesses her, and she tries to kill everybody. Like, this route goes from, like, 0 to 100 very quickly.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the route, Himuka and Byakuya are just getting to know each other. They go on a boat, and they set some flowers into the ocean, and she visits his cabin on the beach.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, at one point, before all this fuckery happens, after Byakuya falls in love with him, she's like, I love you, and he's like, I do not have the qualifications to be your husband.
Right. He has no color, so he cannot mate with her.
Well, that is true.
Yeah.
But when I saw this, what I read is he doesn't have, like, a physical human body. His body is that of a doll, and he does not have a penis.
So wait, you're telling me that in that scene at the spring where he was saying, I can't mate with you, it's because he didn't have a penis?
I'm pretty sure that was the main reason. You know, even if he had a color, if he has a color but no penis, he cannot do the sexy time with her and make the babies.
Sister.
Am I wrong?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
He is a doll. It's all smooth down there.
It's just like, it's like Ken and Barbie.
Just, yeah, all smooth.
Oh, gosh. I really like how that's how you read into it. That is not how I read it. You don't really know too much about Hiroko then, but I read it as him saying, I don't have a color, so I am not fit to be with you. Not, I'm a doll, and therefore it's smooth down there, and I don't have a penis, so literally, physically cannot fit. That is not how I saw it. That's hilarious.
I cannot give you babies. I have no sperm.
So, okay, actually, anyway, him being a doll is relevant here because what ends up happening is that Himuka, like, sacrifices himself to save Byakuya. And
he fucking dissolves.
Yeah, he dissolves into, like, body parts. Like, not body parts.
Like doll parts.
He dissolves into doll parts and he kind of like whisks away. But okay, I know this sounds like a bad end, but I'm telling you, it's not the bad end. This is the good end. There's more. Because after, like, all of this happens, and Byakuya is sad and lonely, and they, you know, cast away Izanami, who was sad about her brother husband who, like, let her go, basically. She ends up going back to her island, to Tenyo Island, and communing in the Iki no Mizu pond.
Yeah, the pond where Amaterasu lives.
That's right. So she was communing with Amaterasu, and Amaterasu, like, I don't know, it was really weird. It was a weird, like, conversation that she had with Amaterasu. You find out that Byakuya is like the vessel of her.
Yeah, Amaterasu.
They look exactly alike.
Yeah. And that's actually a point of contention with Byakuya and Humuka because since Olympia is supposed to be Amaterasu's vessel, she thinks that that's the only reason why Humuka likes her. Which at first is true. He's
like, wow, she's exactly like her. But no, he does fall for Byakuya as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
To have that scene where they actually face each other and have a conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so bizarre.
She's like, oh my god, this goddess has my face.
Yeah.
Actually, you have the goddess's face.
You have the goddess's face. Other way around, honey. But it was really cool. So she ended up actually giving Himuka back his body. Well, not really back his body. He became human.
So he has a penis.
So he has a penis now. Yeah. I don't know if he ended up with a color because at the end, her hair turns gray like his and there's no gray color on the island.
There is now.
But basically, like, they're like, gods are not a problem anymore. Hiruko's like, okay, I'm done with this world shit. Like, I don't own this anymore. I'm not going to be doing the things. I'm just going to be a human. I'm going to live with my girl, Byakuya. We're going to be happy and then stuff. So basically no more gods, but society still kind of has to deal with all the color shit. So, like,
I actually liked Himuka's bad ends. Both of them.
You liked them? For what reason?
So I thought they were entertaining because in one of them, Byakuya dies and Himuka, like, grabs her soul and puts it in a moth and creates a doll of her and then, like, creates their own little world. And he just, like, stays there talking to this doll that looks like Byakuya. And the moth with her soul is, like, flying around. Like, flap, flap, flap.
It was weird. Yeah.
I'm your girlfriend.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked about Himuka. We've talked about everyone else. Who's last? Let's do this.
The main guy.
Best boy. Akaza.
Poster boy.
Yes.
All was answered in this route.
Yeah, so you get the societal stuff, you get the lore stuff, and now you get, like, everything.
I loved Akaza.
I also loved Akaza.
I liked both him and his route. So my two favorite allies are Kuroba and Akaza. And I love Kuroba, but I have a lot of complaints about his route.
Okay.
Akaza's route was great. He's the type of LI that just, like, says sappy lines and, like, straightforward lines with a completely straight face, complete serious, and that is, like, my weakness because it goes straight to my heart. He does not fuck around.
No, he doesn't. He tells her what he likes about her and what's on his mind, and that's very hot.
Yeah, and even though, like, when they first meet, it didn't seem like he was, like, serious about her, he was, and he makes it very clear that he likes her and wants to marry her. But this turns her into a rather large tsundsun.
Yeah, it's really funny because in some of the other routes, she ends up chasing them around. Not in this one.
No.
He literally has to chase her around and convince her that he's in love with her because she's like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, come on. The man is a government employee who can cook.
He really can cook.
It's great.
His food thing was like a homemade meal.
Yeah.
He smoked fish.
He smokes his own food.
Oh my god, he can cook. What a man.
Yeah.
I love this guy.
His background is confusing, though.
So, he's of the Red. And if you recall, Jigen is the leader of the Red.
Yeah. We love Jigen, by the way.
Exactly.
Jigen is, like, the one character in the game that we don't have complaints about.
No, Jigen's that's why I said he'd be the therapist.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great.
Yeah. Akaza's background they tell you different things at different points in time, and most of it is not true.
Right.
It's only until, like, the very end where you get the truth about Akaza's background.
Right. So Akaza is the next leader of the Red, right?
No, he is not.
He is not the next leader of the Red?
He is not the next leader of the Red.
Okay, what do you mean?
So, Akaza is Jigen's son.
Right. But you don't find that out until, like, later.
Because it's a secret that he's Jigen's son.
Correct.
Because when Akaza decided to take his position with the Kotowari, when he decided to work for the government, he renounced his connection with Jigen.
Oh. Oh. So, okay. And there was no future leader of the Red then.
Not in the game that we know of.
Okay.
But that is...
So he's not Jigen's son.
No, he is Jigen's son. So he is Jigen's son, and... You find out that he's Jigen's son, and Byakuya is really upset because, like, nobody told her. Yeah. And she's known Jigen, like, for most of her life, and she only recently met Akaza, and she was like, why didn't anyone tell me?
That you had a son.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, well, it's a secret because, number one, he's actually adopted, but number two, like, we decided that, like, he's not going to be the next leader of the Red, and, like, Akaza doesn't want to, like,
have
say...
the family title or whatever. Yeah.
And have people say that he's using that. So they say, oh, no, he was adopted.
Right.
But he wasn't.
He's actually Jigen's son.
He's actually Jigen's son.
He's actually Jigen's biological son.
Yes.
Okay, so hold on.
This is the order in which you find out this information. This is very confusing.
It is very confusing. So you meet Akaza. You don't know who his father is.
Yes.
Then you find out that he is the Red's adopted son.
Yes.
But he denounced his position so he could become the leader of the Kotowari. And then you find out that actually he's not adopted because he's really biologically Jigen's son.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Who's his mother?
Woman of the White.
Okay, that's...
Which is not supposed to be possible.
That's impossible.
Because white women can only give birth to other white women.
That's right.
Except for Akaza.
Except for Akaza. So...
Which is why Tsukuyomi wants to kill him, because that's not supposed to be possible.
Okay. So Akaza is the only boy ever born from the White, and he's red.
And guess who else was red?
I know the answer to this.
Susanoo,
Amaterasu's brother.
Who killed her.
Yes.
Which is another reason why Tsukuyomi hates Akaza. But that's not the only connection there.
So, a lot of times in Akaza's youth, he goes out and hangs around the beach, and, you know, things happen to come up on the beach. They just wash ashore. Well, he finds a sword.
Yeah.
This sword. And he tries to, like... You know?
Yeah, he's like, it's a sword.
Yeah, gives it to Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi's like, oh my god, not this sword. Like, not you.
And he's like, okay.
And he's like, okay, I don't want this.
And then
so he throws it into the ocean.
And then it comes back.
And then it starts
he
throws
having
it into the
nightmares.
ocean. And then it comes back.
He's also got the nightmares about blood and murder and killing.
Yeah.
And you would think that all of this, like, mythology and the reborn things and the fact that Byakuya is, like, supposed to be Amaterasu's vessel, and now that Akaza has this connection with Susanoo, you think it's, like, all fate and stuff, and that they're, like, really gonna care about this. Byakuya and Akaza do not give a shit.
No, they don't give a shit. Actually, I think when they find out that Susanoo is supposed to be, like, connected to Akaza, they're like, who cares? I don't care about this. He's supposed to kill her? I'm supposed to kill you? I'm not killing you. I love you. And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. I love you too. Like, fuck this shit.
So I just thought that was really funny because they find out all of this stuff and Akaza's like...
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. It really doesn't stop Tsukuyomi from hating him, though.
No, Tsukuyomi really hates him. And he says multiple times, like, I should have killed you when you were born.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
He loves Byakuya.
A little too much.
Especially in this route.
Yeah, he gets a little obsessed with her, but, you know.
Yeah, I actually really liked the fact that in this game, in everyone else's route, everyone's like, you know what? Akaza, he's the perfect one.
You should marry
Akaza.
him.
He's the one that you should be with. And then when you get to Akaza's route,
Everyone's like,
no, don't marry, not allowed. I'm like,
not Akaza.
You're never allowed to be with the one that you fall in love with, like in any of the roots. Even in other roots, they say it's okay.
But that is this game. Like, it starts out at the beginning, and they're like, go find a husband. You can choose anyone. And no matter who you choose, they're like, not that one. not that one. Not that one.
Yeah. So I get the star-crossed lovers thing. I get the Romeo-Juliet situation, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, the other thing that you find out in Akaza's route is why Byakuya is the only white left. Why she was the only survivor of the Red Calamity.
Oh, yeah. All the bombs drop in Akaza's route.
And every time we say Calamity, I just think of Critical Role. But anyways, so... big spoiler, Doma's her biological dad.
What?
Who knew? Oh my gosh, that's a big surprise. I don't think anyone, I'm pretty sure everyone guessed that by like the second route.
Yeah, I had a feeling he was her dad very early in, but you know, he kind of did suck. Like, he was not a nice dude.
He doesn't know how to interact with his daughter.
He has no idea.
Yeah, but...
So anyways, Doma is her dad because he ended up being the soulmate of her mom, Hakua.
Who was a white woman.
Who was from the island of the white women. It feels so strange to just be like, white women.
White women?
But yeah, that's what they were called. Like, the women of the white. Anyways, so tell us what happened in the Red Calamity, sis.
So, the previous leader of the Yellow, Hagane.
What an ass.
Yeah. He was... Oh, actually, this is Kuroba's dad.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is Kuroba's dad.
Well, fuck him.
So, he was super jealous that Doma got to get with a white woman.
Well, okay, so back to the whole thing about the White Mouse Clan. Like, only men who were worthy were selected, were selected with the Iroha flower to even go to the island.
Hagane was not worthy.
He was not worthy.
No.
He sent his son off into Yomi just because he took some damn medicine to save his life. I'm so mad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Hagane was like, well, why do you get with a white woman? That's not fair. And so he kind of revolted and grabbed some of his bros who, like, agreed with him. And they basically went and fucking invaded Tenyu Island.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were gonna do a lot of bad shit. And so, you know, some people were murdered, but most of the women committed suicide. And Hagane, the previous leader of the Yellow, killed Hakua, Byakuya's mom.
Yeah. Because of her relationship with Doma.
Yeah. And
it's pretty fucked up.
And at the end of it, it's just Byakuya who was left.
Yeah, so Doma ended up being able to take Byakuya back. Thank goodness. But, like, it was all so fucked up.
Yeah. I do like kind of the nice ending of that story is that Doma secretly infected Hagane with Haku and then he died. So
after that? Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good.
He got his by dying of Haku.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like, a lot of the bombs being dropped in Akaza's route was really interesting. And I also kind of felt like this with all of the other routes. Like, the situational aspects of the routes are very, very tied in with the characters themselves.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I really, really liked about this. And I know you said for some routes for you, others, it, like, that part took away from the like, connection between the characters. But I actually, like, felt more involved by having those pieces put together. So, I don't know. I think in Akaza's route, it was a lot of that. I really enjoyed the fact that, like, he was so gung-ho for her, and he didn't care about all this mythology, but, like, all of these bombs get dropped. Like, you find out really the truth. You find out everything.
Yeah, I did like Akaza's route a lot.
His ending was also really fucking cute.
Yeah, so cute.
So let's talk about the endings.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of talked about them a little bit, but let's talk about our favorites.
Yeah, like, best of the best ends.
Best of the best ends?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Can you choose one?
Y'all, I love them all so much that I don't really have a best of the best. Like, I really liked I'm sorry. I loved all the characters, and I loved all of their best ends. But I can tell you that my favorite, like, sexy time scenes were with Riku and with Tokisara. Do you want to know why?
Why?
because Riku is a tsutsun, and he was not gunning for Byakuya, but Byakuya took the fucking initiative. She was like, you know what? I'm down for this. We're gonna do it. And basically, it didn't end up happening until Yosuga locked them in a bathhouse room.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yosuga is like the best wingman
He's the
for
best
everyone.
Wingman for all of them. So he locks them in a bathhouse room, and he's like, you're not coming out until you bone. Or actually, no, it's like, you're not coming out until tomorrow, so whatever. So they take a bath together. It's all romantic and sweet, and he's like, no, I can't. No.
And she, like, jumps him.
And she jumped him. She was, like, on it. So that was freaking hot. And then Tokisada for the opposite reason, where they're both like, oh, but, like, we're young, and this is, like, unknown, and it's not sure. But then Tokisada, like, he finally... I don't know, like that first boner that he gets, maybe, he's just like raring to go. He like jumps on it. It was so impassioned and like intense that I was like, oh my God, this boy. He seems so innocent, but he's just so, woo.
He is, man.
Making me sweat. Yeah. So, I don't know.
My
for those
sister
two
just
reasons.
like swiped imaginary sweat off of her brow.
It was hot. I liked it. So yeah, I can't really choose a best end. I really did like them all. But those are my two favorite sexy scenes. Do you have a favorite best end?
So I liked Akaza's route in general. So I'm gonna have to say his best end because they got to end up together. But his after scene I also thought was really sexy. Both I liked his and I liked Kuroba's sexy scenes because all of them have an after scene where they get like some sexy time.
Yeah, alone time.
Yeah, and they're all great, but you know, I really like Akaza because he's very straightforward. He's very blunt.
Yeah,
and it just turns her into like a melty like
she's
puddle
in his hands
because he's like, I love you, I want you. Nope. Still love you. You're extremely attractive.
Yeah.
What do I like about you? Well, this, and this.
So sweet. Yeah.
And I don't know. That really does it for me.
Yeah. I love when people are able to explain to you or be able to explain in real words why they appreciate or value you.
Yeah.
That's really important in any relationship. So it was nice to see in this game.
Yeah. What about the worst of the worst ends?
Oh my God. So many bad ends, guys.
Yeah, but the bad ends are all really interesting and different.
True. Okay, so I think I have one quote-unquote favorite bad end.
Oh, God.
My worst of the worst ends.
I think a lot of people are going to agree with you.
Yeah, is the one in Tokisada's route where Kannan kidnaps both Kaina, his twin brother, and Byakuya, takes them to like a remote facility where no one can find them, and he drugs the shit out of both of them and makes them believe that the other person is their true love. So Kaina thinks that Byakuya is the woman that he fell in love with and that died for him, and he got sent to Yomi, and Byakuya thinks that Kaina is Tokisada, and Kannan just like laps it up. He like encourages it, he watches it, it's so gross because like he makes them
There are
so horrible.
Yeah, there are a couple of times in this game where Kannan uses another man as his surrogate penis with Byakuya.
Oh, so bad.
That is definitely I don't like that. That's a complaint I have about Otome games that have more adult content. I would love to have just at least one Otome game that has sexy time where there isn't anything
there's no coercion or assault or
and I mean I think the closest one I can think of is Cupid Parasite, but there's even one scene where it seems like coercion. But in this, no, there is straight up assault in quite a few ends.
They really take it there.
Yeah.
So I think, for that one especially, like, I had a really hard time with that one. I hated it so bad.
Yeah, and a lot of people do. I think for a lot of people, that is the, like, worst bad end.
Yeah.
Because it's just fucked up.
So you agree with me? That is the worst of the worst ends.
Yeah, but that's not what I put.
Okay, what did you put?
So the first bad end I got was more kind of what the fuck, and it made me laugh, and I had to like replay it a couple of times just to make sure that what I saw was correct.
Okay.
So Riku's first bad end that I did, there's like a really tense scene like on the beach with Sakyo, and Sakyo I think has a gun, and like a bunch of people are there and they're trying to like prevent any violence from happening. And then a giant wave comes up and washes Riku and Sakyo away.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the end. And they die.
And they die. The end. So it's like this whole big tense scene, and there's this whole build up, and then a like random wave just whoosh. Oh, the end.
Yeah. I mean, they did actually like finalize the story for Byakuya. Like she ends up going to live with Shura, and they're both like heartbroken widows, basically.
Yeah, but the way that he dies.
I know. He just gets overcome by a random wave.
Yeah.
The ocean was mad that day, okay?
The ocean was upset.
Yeah, I don't know. The ones where Byakuya just ends up alone and sad, those are all bad, but they're sad. The one where in Kuroba's bad end, where she just ends up like hanging out with his skull for the rest of her life, like that was dark.
That's great.
That was pretty dark, man.
Well, I mean, and there was a bad end in Yosuga's route where she is pregnant with his child and like has his like show his soul gem, and he's like, and she's like, oh, child in my stomach, your father and I are going to live together with you forever.
Yeah, really, really dark.
Like, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, so so that's the worst of the worst. I feel like there were just so many bad ends that were really, like, just interesting, well written, or just, like, kind of, like, off the wall
This
a little
whole
bit.
game is really really well written.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but it's an extremely well-written game. There are not, off of the top of my head, I cannot think of very many loose ends that did not get tied up.
Yeah, that's true. And every route kind of had their own, like, solution, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there were loose ends at the end of Riku's route. Yes, at the loose ends at the end of Tokiseta's route. But as you go and do the other routes, like, you learn more and those get tied up, even though it's not linear. Like, it's interesting. I really like the way they wrote this game.
Yeah.
There are so many things that I liked about it.
I still wanted somebody to adopt Asuha and let him live his best life and get him the education to become a doctor. He was so cute.
In Kuroba's ending, they did. He was studying.
Yeah, but they didn't adopt him.
They didn't adopt him. I don't know. I just thought that, like, it was a really cute... the characters were really endearing. Mm-hmm. The storyline was very intense.
Yes.
And very in-depth, and honestly, a lot of time really difficult to, like, keep up with.
Yeah.
But, like, overall, thinking back on the experience of playing the game, I got to experience so many different emotions that, like, I feel like I haven't run the gamut of emotions in many Otome games, and for this one, I really feel like I did.
Yeah.
Like, there were moments where I was like, oh, I'm so excited, or oh, I'm so happy, or oh, I'm so nervous, or oh, I'm so sad. Like, I really got to feel all of those things in this game because of the way that the storytelling was told.
And also, you know, with you, something that I really like about how you play games is you get very invested in them.
Guy. I just, like...
I love watching you play them because you have so many facial expressions.
Yeah.
Like, when you play on the big screen, like, if there's a sad scene, you will start crying.
It is sad.
Yeah, like, you have burst into tears before, and I've been like, oh my god, Vika, what happened? And you're like, and point at the TV. Oh, okay.
No, I was at your house.
Yeah,
when
you did.
I was doing Tokiseta's route, and I literally, like, I had just done a bad end, and we were sitting in the living room, and I turned it off, and I was like, I need a break. Like, I'm crying.
Yeah.
And I need to, like, come down from the sad emotions that I'm having. So, like, yeah, this game really gave that to me, and a lot of games do. Mm-hmm. Like, I do admit, when I play a game...
You have cried in 1926.
I've cried in 1926 many times. I really did get invested in the joy and experiences of the characters in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could feel it a lot, and it was really, really cool.
Yeah. And, I mean, there were a lot of things that I liked about this game. Mm-hmm. I think
like all of the LIs and how much I love them.
I'm talking about me now. I think all of the characters were very well written. Mm-hmm. Not all the LIs were my type, and, you know, I said that earlier.
Yeah.
But because they were well written, I didn't, like, feel the need or the want to like skip through everything like I do in all of Kanato's route in Diabolic Lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only time I play through Kanato's routes in Diabolic Lovers is if you are sitting there with me, because I know you want to see.
I want to see.
But there was a lot of plot, and and there were times when it confused me a little, and I had to like take a beat and think like, oh, okay, what is happening?
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of that happening in the game. I like to be able to keep track of what's going on. So it wasn't my favorite game. I think it's a good game. Yeah. I would recommend it to people who are like okay with all of the trigger warnings and the content.
Okay, that is, yeah. I wouldn't recommend this for everyone. I would say that.
Yeah.
That is a true fact.
I would not recommend it to anyone under the age of 18 or anyone who is not okay with any of the content warnings that we are putting on this podcast episode.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of content warnings.
Yeah. It really surprised me as I was playing this game, to be honest, when I picked it up, because it looked so, like, pretty and fuwa-fuwa
Sarah
and soft.
D.
Yeah,
Sarah D.
It's Sarah D. So yeah, I agree. Like, it's not recommended for everyone, but like, if that is the type of storyline that you're interested in, you enjoy them, like I do, very worthwhile playing. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. This was a longer episode.
This was a long one. We had so many things to talk about.
And if we had actually talked about all of the plot points, we never would have stopped.
That's
so
right.
We're gonna stop here
for another couple hours. But it is time for us to wrap it up.
Yeah, we have to go play D&D after this.
All right, friends. If you like what you hear and would like to support us, we have a Ko-fi account where you can donate to us keeping the podcast going. We really appreciate our donations to Ko-fi because we still have to pay to produce this podcast.
Yeah.
So thank you for our past supporters, and thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah. We also have a Twitter and Instagram and Discord now.
And Discord.
Where you can stay updated on what we're up to and other cool Otome related stuff, and also like photos of cats and stuff. There are a lot of photos of cats on our Discord.
Yeah, our Discord is basically cat photos and cat photos. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
You like cat photos? Come to our Discord.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.
Bye! Okay. Hello, kind people. Can you hear me? Sister, can you hear me? Because I know that my sister's here. I just wanted to show our... Oh, thank you, Blurry Otome Naja. So this was our schedule for the past week. We don't have a schedule for next week up yet, just because there are a couple of things that we're still deciding. We will most likely still be streaming on Monday and Thursday, just not those games. So please keep your eye out on our Twitter, our Ko-fi, Blurry Otome Naja. Yes, your new name is Blurry Otome Naja. On our Twitter, our Ko-fi, and our Discord for the schedule next week. Now, I'm gonna go take a nap because it is Sunday nap time. But I hope all of you enjoyed this wonderful episode, and have a wonderful Sunday, friends. Bye!